Good morning, everybody. I wanted to come and just touch on a few different things. Number one, today is, of course, Monday, and on Mondays we do our weekly teachings, and we're going to be cranking back up our Zoom meetings very shortly. There are some things that I'm working on. God is really dealing with me on prioritizing some things and just kind of getting things in order. And so as I'm finding my way, I wanted to talk about a few different things. Like I have so many things to share with y'all. And I know this stuff is going to help somebody because it literally helped me. So as you know, the last couple of weeks, I've been constantly going in about our last couple of sermons. And the ones I'm referencing to is the God of already, the God of always, the God of also, the God of again. Y'all, and on yesterday in church, our pastor's wife, she preached on the God of of answers. And y'all, when I tell you these sermons are so powerful, you really have to go back and watch these if you have not. I even told my children yesterday, even though I have learned and took away so much from those sermons, we're going to go back and watch them again, because that's just how powerful they were. And like I said, just over the last couple of weeks, God's been just continuously showing himself through these sermons and, just in my life daily. And God is really in the business of getting us in order. And like I said, thousands of times when you watch my videos, God is so diligent. Oh my God, it's no other word there's many other words I can describe God. But the one word, as for me, that I can describe God is his diligence. Oh my God, God is so diligent in correcting me, in answering me, in loving on me. I wouldn't trade his love for anything. I wouldn't trade the position in which he stands in my life. I wouldn't trade that spot for anybody. I made a promise to myself a long time ago, and I made a promise to God that I would never put him on the back burner again, ever. And I stand firm to that to this day. Anything that looks like they're going to compromise my time with God, got to go. And that's on everything. But anyway, I want to get back into it. God is the God of answers. He answers us even when we think he doesn't answer us. Sometimes we're so busy, so wrapped up in wanting to hear a specific response from God, so we miss him answering us. And God, when we ask God for something and we're waiting on the answer, there's normally 3, sometimes 4 ways that God will answer us. He'll answer us yes, he'll answer us no, and he'll answer us telling us to wait. And sometimes God's answer is telling us it's not for us to know. A lot of times, no, wait, and it's not for us to know. It's the hardest thing to do for some of us. It's easy when God says yes. It's easy for us to go on about doing whatever we're doing when he says yes. But learning to function when God says no, when he says wait, and when he says this is not for you to know. If we knew everything, if we knew when it would happen, how fast it would happen, every detail about it, we wouldn't need faith. And we all know that faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen, meaning the things in which we cannot see, we have to believe it. And Jesus is one of them. You have to believe firmly that if you ask God for anything, you must believe that he will do it. Not he might do it. Maybe he'll do it, next week. Maybe he'll do it before the last minute. Maybe he'll do it before the deadline. You have to know that God's going to do it. When God does anything for us, whenever we ask God for anything, he does it immediately. As I was talking and discussing this lesson with my children yesterday, I was sharing with them something that I heard Steve Harvey say that stuck with me. It stuck with me and it stuck with me. So when I'm talking about God, and when I'm talking about waiting for God to answer us, he said whenever we ask God for anything, he immediately answers us. God packages up the things that we ask for and he ships it out to us. Now, during the process of the shipping, there are some things that happen. There are some things God's going to take us through. There are some seasons that may happen. And it depends on us, the day of arrival of that package. So like I said, whenever we ask God for anything, he immediately does it. He says, oh yes, my child. And he ships it out. Now, according to how you live out your life, according to how you walk your faith out, it's the time in which you receive that thing. And so I like to tell people all the time, like I said, faith. You have to have crazy, stupid faith when it comes to wanting these things from God. Like I said, God is a God that works miracle signs and wonders. We know this. Yes. As I always say, God requires us to do some things. We have a doing grace. God gives us a thing, and he expects a thing in return for that. God gives us gifts, and he expects us to steward our gifts. And our gifts are supposed to make disciples of his people. And so when we're not in balance, when we're not focused, when we do not have our priorities together, things are not going to go according to how God has planned it out for us. Because we choose to not have faith or lack faith in whatever it is we're asking God for to do for us, or just asking God about it in general, if we lack that faith, we slow down our process. And so it's very important for us to believe, that God will do what it is that he said he would do. One thing about God, he gives us all, a place to be, and he gives us a person to become. Like I said, he calls us, he chooses us, he calls us. When we respond, when we answer to that call, God then destines us for a place to be. And we have to move in the ways that God plans for us to get to those destinations. A lot of times, like I said, we like to figure out things for ourselves, like to try to figure out the when, the why, the who, the what. And God says, just trust me, just walk, just do it. And I really want to get chills saying it. Just over the last few weeks, I have really been in prayer to God about some things. God has really been dealing with me on some things. Now, before God had started dealing with me on it, I promise, I started dealing with myself in it. And so I do believe that was God. He was putting that desire in my heart to fix it, to dig deeper, to find out why these particular things were happening. And so as I started dealing with myself, favorite scripture I love is Proverbs 4:7, and we must get understanding. We must get understanding. If we don't have understanding, we won't comprehend a lot of things that happens to us. Good, bad, ugly, we won't understand it. And in order for us to operate in total alignment, we need to get understanding. That comes through experience, that comes through knowledge, that comes through a process, that comes through going through things, that comes through change, that comes through hardships, that comes through trials and obstacles. And so as we continue to move forward in those things, we have to get our focus back on what's important. And what's important is what God first called us to. And so, like I said, I'm really get chills talking about this because I know that me sharing this, the things that God has spoken to me, I know that it will help somebody else. And so, like I said, God calls us to do a certain thing. He requires us to do a certain thing. And in order for us to get that certain thing, we have to put in the work to receive that certain thing. And so, like I said, yes, God is a God of signs, miracles, and wonders. He does work wonders. He does work miracles. God does give us things without us having to do anything. But there are some things that we are required to do the work for. And that's what I want to talk about today. You know, the God of answers. When, like I said, when we need things from God, He answers it. He does it. Y'all, and I'm going to share this as a testimony, and it's so beautiful to me. Like, actually, 2 testimonies. I have really been, I've been praying for kids in general, but I have really been praying for my children. It's just some things that I have started seeing. We've been experiencing a lot of spiritual warfare, and I have really been praying for my children. And so, 2 weeks ago, my daughter Chloe, she got baptized. Thank you, Jesus. That was a decision that she made. Before she did it, she had been wanting to do it for a good while, and I wouldn't allow her to. And why is because I wanted her to understand why she was being baptized, what it was for. And when I initially asked her, why do you want to get baptized? She initially, of course, said because I did it, because her sister did it. And I was like, that's excellent. It's great that we were examples that you wanted to follow in our footsteps and get baptized. That's excellent. But I want you to fully understand why you were doing this. I don't want you to do it just because you see somebody else doing it. I want you to understand why you're doing it. And so it took us a while. And as I told her, I said, just pray, spend more time with God, and ask Him to help you understand, why you're doing this. And so some time went on, and she said, Mom, I want to get baptized again. I said, okay, so why you want to do it? And so we ended up talking, and she ended up having a better understanding of it. And so she ended up getting baptized. And so the day she got baptized, y'all, no lie, I was in the car, we left church or whatever, and I forgot where we were going. But we were riding in the car, and she said, I do. She said, Mom, I want to get baptized, like Chloe. And I was like, okay. As I said, I had been praying to God for answers. Of course, I wanted all my children, to be baptized at the same time. Number one, that's a decision they had to make. It's my job to instill into them the reasons and the importance of baptism, the reasons and the importance of salvation. And I had to explain that to them. And it wasn't until, like I said, I told them to take everything to God. You pray about it. You don't just want to do something and jump into it. You have to know why you're doing something. And so as they spent time with God, as I continued to teach and pour into them, they started understanding the difference. Even my 3-year-old, she said, Mama, I want to be baptized. And I asked her why she wanted to be baptized. And she said because she loved Jesus and she named, an array of things. At 3 years old, I can accept that. And so I'm in the process of getting ready to get her baptized. But that was just one testimony. That was one way that God, answered my prayer. Y'all, I had really not even been doing my makeup because baby, it comes off my face so quickly. And I said it because I've been spending so much time with God. He's just been talking to me and stuff, and my makeup has been crazy. And like I said, back to what I was saying, and he put his birthday on it, he put his name on it, he put my phone number on it, and on the back of the card, it said Raised to Life Baptism. And y'all, I had so much joy in my spirit because immediately I knew God. He answered me. He was the God of answers. I prayed about a thing, I believed God for it, and He answered it. My son signed up to be baptized. That was the most beautiful moment. It was beautiful because, like I said, I know God is the God that comes through, with the come through. I have been praying very, very intensely about my children, and God just, directing them and instructing them and keeping them, like I said, close. And because I started seeing some things in my children, and it happens to everybody. I started seeing them no grow a little weary, just not all the way there, just distracted. And I've been praying that thing off of them. And I walked in my son's room. If you listen to another testimony, I have been praying to God that, like I said, He work on their hearts and bring them back to Him. And so a few times, just happened to walk in my son's room and saw him reading his Bible, and I smiled, my heart smiled, and I walked back down and continued to do what I did. And I knew in those moments God was working. And so, like I said, I don't pressure my children to operate in the ministry. Like I said, who called? We all answered the call. My son has been in the steps of answering the call in his life, and yesterday he chose to be baptized, and I'm so excited for that. It's like I said, because that was something I was praying deeply to God for. Like I said, of course I want to see all my children baptized, and but it was a decision that they had to make in their time. But it happened in God's time. God knew when my son was going to make that decision, but my son had to make that decision. I couldn't make that decision for him. Like I said, talked about it, found out why you getting baptized. And he explained why you get baptized, and look, we just want to go forth. But I just really want to share that to you. Don't be discouraged when you think that God is not answering you. A lot of times God answers us, but He answers us in ways that we don't want to hear. Because when you focus on how we want God to answer us, we miss what's right in front of us. We miss the answer that's right in front of us. We miss it. And so be careful not to pray to God and ask Him for things, to pray to God and ask Him for things, and just totally ignore what's right in front of you. What's right in front of you. We ask God for something, and because it doesn't look like what we want it to look like, we assume that's not what we need. And I don't know why the Holy Spirit just said relationships. We'll pray to God for relationships. We'll ask Him for relationships. And we'll be presented with a relationship that God knows that we need, or somebody who He knows we need, whether it's for a season or whether it's for, the rest of our lives. And sometimes we reject that because it's not what we want. It's not what it's supposed to look like. It's not what we're used to. And so we just completely ignore it. And so now I've heard a lot of stories about people getting into relationships, and they were the complete opposite from their partner. It's like, there's no way I'll date him, there's no way I'll date her. And find out, come down the road, that's what God intended for them, and they live their lives out, walking out according to God, and they have a great life because of that, because they chose to be obedient, and they chose to accept what it is that God had given them. And so like I said, be careful not to dismiss or disregard the answer in which God has given us. I love y'all. I'll talk to you later.